What is it? Does it bring up a barcode or something?
Well, good morning, good people. Mark Holmes here in the Motor City. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. This is all we got, man. It's all we got. The NFL draft, because the Dallas Cowboys, they're not going to do anything else but the NFL draft. They are literally getting high on their own supply and believing that they are better than anybody else in the draft and that they are going to win their Super Bowl by only the draft. Now, I'm going to say that I have to blame myself, because I want to believe that the Joneses actually have a plan and that they're actually going to do something. And, you know, in my mind, I've been saying, you know, they're playing possum. They're playing inept and trying to make people just think that they're not going to do anything. They'll go through the draft. I said in my mind, they'll go through the draft. They'll draft their players. They'll see what holes they can fill. And then come free agency, as my buddy David Wiley. And let me introduce you guys to the crew, okay? First of all, shout out to Miss Tracy, because here, this, guys, no, that's not Sean Sharif. No, that's me. We got my man,
Sean.
Prime Time. We've got Chef David Wiley. I think he should have a chef hat on. I honestly, see, everybody else has a hat on. I got headphones on, although I never wear headphones. And then we got my man, Game Time Brian. And so if you want to know and compare this to real life, let's do this. And see, on my phone, okay, on my Samsung phone, we can just, without having to have an app, we can just push the button and we can flip the camera. Good morning. What's up, Prime Time?
How's it going, man?
That's it? That's all
it.
you?
I haven't had any breakfast, no coffee or anything, so yeah, that's all right now.
Well, you know, my man Game Time, who's always busting my balls here, says you got to have your head on the swivel. You got to be ready.
That's why I wasn't expecting
Okay.
that. I wasn't expecting the Samsung to do the flips option, and so
It's great.
So that's nice.
Okay, and then we got Chef David Wiley, who has not met a cookie he does not like.
Oh, they're gone?
Oh, he was like, man, you got to try one of these cookies and stuff. I'm like, where are they? They're the hot cookie. I mean, literally. And of course, I was going to go ahead and show you Game Time. He was supposed to be sitting right here, so I could say, say good morning.
Good morning, everybody. I'm just getting some footage for the people.
Okay, so we're actually.
I'll talk to you a little bit.
This is really nice. The hotel
Get the
here,
other camera that's
Fort Shelby's DoubleTree, and I'm probably gonna have. Okay, so he finally got his app.
It was a free app.
All right, so I'm gonna ask my guys here. I wasn't smart enough to bring the taller tripod here, of course, Broadcast Media. How are you guys all feeling this morning after getting here? We've come from far and wide here to get here about this draft.
I'm feeling excited because I think we did this definitely different than we did last year, where it felt like we kind of got off the plane and then I was right into the draft. Just like I really didn't get to soak anything in, so it's like we get to see the city a little bit. So I really, honestly, I'm loving the city. Just cold, man. Coming from Florida, I'm just freezing my ass off.
Okay. Now, how do you feel about the Cowboys? Are we going to see anything exciting?
I mean, this is what we're supposed to do well. I mean, let's be real. This is the Cowboys' time of season, and if the past year, past couple of times we've been very spoiled, because last year with none of the starters being, none of these guys are coming in there being really a guy that's starting or making a difference. I think that's what made it disappointing. The one thing that we do have as a strength ended up being just terrible last year, and you're hoping those guys step up. But man, I really do like the fact that you'll take away that 1 year, we do have a good history of drafts. So that's the part that I do get excited about, man. I'm really excited about who is the new guy, who's that new person in the trenches. Is it a weapon? Is it somebody to kind of like help that offensive line, that running game that we just don't have? Is it a running back? So it's like, I'm just interested a bit because it can go in different directions, and we may not be happy about it. So.
Okay, and then we have my man Chef David Wiley. Okay, David, you were looking yesterday at all the free agents that are still out there. that are guys that we might be able to sign and bring in that may be able to have an impact. There's actually quite a few name players. You remember any off the top of your head after you're going through the list?
Shaq Leonard, he's still out there.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. Okay.
OBJ still out there.
No, thank you. Okay. All right. Moving on. But no, but there are players out there, and probably a lot of players that when we signed them in the past, we have signed guys as free agents that nobody was excited about when we signed them.
Yeah.
You know, when we signed, Dante Fowler, nobody said, yeah, we got that guy, it's going to be great, but ended up being able to play a role. You can think of guys like J-Ron Curse and so on that have been out there.
I think with Jimmy Johnson being there now, there's going to be a better draft than last year's.
Yeah, and maybe we end up getting, it's conceivable that the guys that we had from last year, my man Game Time, Ryan here.
No,
It's not wine,
I know, it's orange juice.
Okay.
To me.
And we got the sun bouncing off the wall there.
Everybody knows that the mailman likes the sun anyway. So, but yeah. We'll know soon enough about Jimmy Johnson. David brings out Jimmy. I'm dying to see if we get a glimpse of Jimmy, if Jimmy is involved. I don't know what to believe. I would like to believe that he's involved, wouldn't you? If Jimmy's involved, then I think we can only improve on what we're doing. Jimmy doesn't fall in love with anybody. He will take the draft and create more picks, which is we need. I'm Captain Trade Down. You guys know that. So we'll know in 12 hours. We will know who the pick is for the.
What official time does it start?
It starts at 8 o'clock.
I thought it started at 6. Right?
No, 8 o'clock is
What time? Oh no, maybe all right.
So it's going to be long later than that. It'll be
14
probably
hours.
about 11 o'clock by the time we pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be out in the cold.
The question is, are we going to pick at 24 or are we going to trade up like David wants to do to get a tackle? I heard this morning that upwards of 10 offensive linemen are going in the first round. 10. So we could be sitting there taking a guy that me and Prime Time have said in the back. We've said it publicly that it's probably a second round graded guy. You got to remember, there's only 19 to 22 first round graded guys. So, remember Travis Frederick? We all poo-pooed that, and that worked out. You remember Tyler Smith? We all poo-pooed that. I didn't listen. I knew who the player was, but I didn't know he was
killing that pick.
Yeah. So everybody needs to calm down. Don't. Unless we draft a 3 technique, I'm hearing Drazan Newton is now dropping out of the first round because of all the offensive linemen. Again, it's a good year to need an offensive lineman, but if you sit and wait, people are going to jump over us.
Well, if you're talking about 10 offensive linemen going in the first round,
that's what they're saying.
And if you're talking about 5 quarterbacks,
we'll see about 5.
That's what we used to do last year.
I mean, you're talking about 15 players basically right there. Then that means somebody is falling that you are looking at that may be,
You would think. And the question is, do you take that player or do you use that player
yes, you take that player.
to move down? I take it to move down, unless it's a left tackle. Yeah.
Well, here's what I would say. Over here. Okay. Yeah.
I would take it.
Eclipse. His big head blocked out the sun there. I would say you got to take the best player
Again,
available. I understand.
I can take the joke.
I understand there are places that are holes and things. Now, maybe it's not the Agodas, but maybe you look at a guy who's a little better as an offensive lineman if you have to get somebody to fill in. If you get a guy who can be an impact player from day one, if you can get the Robin to go with Micah Parsons, or if you can get a defensive tackle who can really get upfield, you got to take a guy like that.
Yeah.
You think about CeeDee Lamb, that year we took him, I think we were talking about taking offensive linemen because we were really not looking for a wide receiver.
I think Phil, we were all holding our breath that we were going to get CD. It was a beautiful year for us.
Fell to us.
I wish they were on a boat. If they were on their yacht, I would feel better. Right? Come on. You go on the yacht, Jerry. It worked out for you. But I got a little news, Mark. Dallas has been talking to Gabe Murphy, the agent for Gabe Murphy. He's a edge rusher / linebacker out of UCLA, later round guy. So again, don't expect us to address edge rusher early. Your cornerback, there's another position that if we were to trade down, it would open up possibilities for a wide receiver and a cornerback. I don't think we're going to do that tonight. I think that people are going to sit and pick. That not many people want to upload their picks for anybody else not named the quarterback. So maybe an offensive line.
Do y'all think they're going to move up, Commanders, to get Caleb?
No, because
Number two.
They're number 2.
Chicago's not gonna.
Chicago's not gonna give
They're
that.
gonna stick and pick.
Because it's not even their pick. It's like Carolina, so it's like it's even better.
Yeah.
And they need the quarterback. Let's be real.
Right. They needed a quarterback since Mark Rippon.
Yeah.
And that's
Well, I thought, for the first time, and if you ever watch the channel, I have been really hard on Justin Fields a lot of the times. And then last year they gave him a weapon, and I said over immediately, well, he just doesn't seem any interest in actually throwing to those receivers. But he actually started progressing through the year, and so then they just bail out and not try, and then turn around and this guy isn't even here, and you're already getting him weapons, and you weren't getting the other dude weapons. It's like, the philosophy is different.
That sounds like the Cowboys.
Yeah, you're setting this other guy up for success, but as soon as you got rid of the other dude, so it sucks for Justin Fields. But
Well, let me ask you this now. So I last night when I did my fireside chat without a fire was saying that Zeke Elliott is basically deflection right now.
Or there's a lot of jerseys in a warehouse somewhere they haven't sold.
I remember Tony Pollard in that one run where he couldn't get in the end zone. That was one I would look and say, Zeke's getting in the end zone there. But how do you feel about Zeke coming back, possibly?
I'd like it if there's nothing in the draft,
I want to go young. So listen.
If we don't get something in the draft because you're getting a linebacker, a defensive tackle, 2 offensive linemen, a corner, a wide receiver. If you're getting all that, and that's the reason why you can't go and get this, and that's fine. I'll go with that, But I don't really want it. If you're just taking a step back, aren't we still paying him the dead money, and now you're going to bring him back and pay him another thing on top of the dead money?
Well, the dead money doesn't change.
It still stays aside, and then you're paying him twice.
Dead money plus whatever you actually pay him. But one thing that I will say, and I always try and this actually works out pretty good to be able to swivel this. This is one of those things when you are, a YouTuber, you have to be the cameraman, the talent, the guy that books everybody in here, and the driver and all that. One of the things I can look at and say that Mike McCarthy did when he had that Super Bowl win was he had a mixture of veterans and younger guys in there, and it wasn't so much just one guy. Now, Greg Jennings, that Super Bowl year, had 1,200 yards, but then the other 3 receivers he had were all like 500-600 yard receivers in there. When you looked at running back, his lead running back, his name escapes me right now, but had 721 yards. Then he had a bunch of guys who, and look at that. Thank you. So look at that breakfast. But then had multiple people by committee. And there is a lot to be said for being able to have multiple weapons. This is why I say, if there's a wide receiver, a great number wide receiver would not hurt this team. It would, in fact, I think, actually help the offensive line. I think it would help Dak because it will help to spread the offense out. Spread the defense out, because now you're having to worry about covering CD, Brandon Cooks, and then this other guy that we can't just put 8 guys in the box. If I can't put 8 guys in the box and I do have a Zeke Elliott, or I have this rotation where the guys are fresh, then they're going to be a little bit more successful because they're not facing 8 men in the box, because you technically can't. So it's kind of like, who knows what the real plan may actually be here. And it'll be interesting to see how it goes. It's not a bad thing.
If something happens, you hate it, but this team in the past has had too much of a reaction to stuff instead of being ready for something. Yeah, when Cooper, there's times where Cooper couldn't play. And it was nice having CD there. It wasn't CD that it is now, but it would not be a bad thing to have another weapon there. So if a Brian Thomas Jr. I can totally understand them going with that option. I would love for a guy like Tolbert to be our 4th or 5th option, you know. So that means you got a good rotational, you know, in the wide receiver.
And putting like Ultra even said last, the question was, what happens if CeeDee Lamb gets hurt?
Yeah, you don't really want to think about that, but it's one of those things you have to, again, where don't react, be prepared for. But I don't know. I think with the offensive line, I will always go back to the offensive line because we're not even good there. Like, I don't really even see it that way. Like, at least wide receiver, I can see us getting through a season with what we have. I can't really. We need at least one guy in there. We need somebody in there, at least in that mix. And it would be great to be a center, but you know, I think Jeff Kavanaugh pointed it out that in the first round, center is the #1 thing that is hit on. But the thing about it is because it's such a low percentage of what they get. They're like what 15 compared to what pass rushers are probably like 100 and something that they've had, and maybe right tackles or tackles in general have been like 40 something. So you know, the numbers are different. But I think when you have a guy that you know for sure that could be a change maker. I think a lot of guys have pointed out. I think Brian Broaddus pointed out that like once you get to a certain point in the draft, you're just getting Tyler Biadasz back. At least you're not having to pay that money, but you're just getting a player just like that. So I would love to see a center in the first 2 rounds. That's why Zach Frazier seems to keep popping up. As much as I love my Oregon guy, Zach Frazier seems to be that dude.
Alrighty, there you have it. Morning thoughts for the draft, and we're going to eat some breakfast. It's going to be a long day because we're going to need our energy. And I appreciate you good people being here and being part of the Jobu Sports Report. We will see you all day long. And for those out there that are saying 9 videos, give people a break, don't watch, bro. Don't watch them. Some people are enjoying it. Nobody's got you tied to a chair and forcing you to watch. You want to be here. You know you want to be here. I'm Mark Holmes, and well, we'll see you soon.